Hello everyone, and I hope you are well. Today's tutorial, it brings together masking, it brings together watercolouring, it brings together a little bit of blending to make this beautiful card. It's so simple. Again, it's a different form of highlight, but I have elevated this center section of this card. I've created my own background using my own arrangement rather, using the stamps. I think this is lovely. It's really quick and easy to make, but really, really effective. Okay, so this project is going to be made using Julie Hickey's Handpicked Florals. It's an A5 stamp. I love Julie's stamps. The quality is second to none. You notice the difference as soon as you pick one up. And I wanted to use this big flower. I did my first project using some of the other bits, but this one just kept drawing me in. So I wanted to make that the focal point of my project. So what I've got is I've got a piece of watercolour card, 7 inches by 5.5 inches, and I've found the die that I want to use to cut it out. Now I've just used one of, it's a Stamp by Me, really old frame die, so it cuts out, but it also cuts this stitch edge in. I'm sure you've got lots of rectangular dies. So that's going to go there. So I've just given myself a mark about 1 inch in from the top and the side and from the bottom. It's just to help me with my placement. I found I just place things a little bit better. So I'm going to take my lovely big stamp and I'm going to pop that quite close to the edge. Not right to the edge, but pretty close. And I've gone right over my mark. So basically my die is going to cut out where that is. So what I wanted to know that I'd got stamped image beyond that point. No point putting it there if I don't put it on my stamping platform, is it? So let's grab in the stamping platform. Eureka. I love my Eureka. Let's put magnet on. Let's put that on here. I'm not going to be stamping off the edge, so this is going to sit just lovely like that. Actually, let's go around that way. I just want to get the right amount on and off the die cut, so we can pop that there. Now, we're going to be doing watercolour painting with this one, so I need my waterproof ink pad. So that's going to be perfect on here. And I'm going to do multiple stamps. As you know, if you watch me, I always do. So we can flip that back over. Oh, move that die out of the way. And I'm going to get my stamp pressure tool. I will link to that. I wanted to just make a point, if anybody can click on the links that I put underneath these videos, that will always help me. So thank you very much. And then I'm going to pop on a bit more ink. And then we're going to go again. Now what you have to remember is watercolour card is very, very porous. So you do find that it sort of sucks up that ink. And so having something like a stamping platform, you use whichever one works for you. I think we need one more, don't we? Because look, it's not quite there. Whichever one works for you, that's it. Go for it. And you will get the best results because you can just go back in again and again and again. So let's just take that one. Let's see if I can really give it a good burnish. It's just watercolour card. It's like I say, it's so fibrous, it's so porous. Because it's meant to take water effects. Do you know what? I'm going to do one more. Pop that on there. And then, there we go. I think this is going to do. There we go. Oh, perfect. Right, so the other thing I have done is I've already made lots and lots of masks. You can get to your masket sheet and I'll link to the Sticks to Masket sheet. It's just a sheet of very low tack paper and then you can just stamp onto it and then cut it out. As I always say, it's like your post-it note. It's about as thick as your post-it notes. You don't want any thicker because I found that I've tried to do it make this out of like just copy a paper and then put spray adhesive on the back. But then you get a lip here and you find that you can't stamp right up to it. So this is a really fine paper so that when you're stamping, it's not like a jump, and you can use them over and over again because you can see on this one I've used it multiple times. So I'm going to bring in the foliage. And I'm going to work out where I want it to go. I want it to come out like this. Now, the great thing is, every single time you do a project like this, it's going to look slightly different. So take that one and pick it up. And then we can ink that. Let's just put some ink on there. Let's get lots of nice juicy ink. Again, I'll probably do multiple stamps. And I'm really going to put the pressure on just because, like I say, we've not got a lip, but we are going off different heights. Oh, that's done right up to there. Actually, I don't think I need another coat on that. That is brilliant. Okay, so I've taken that one, and I'm also going to take it just up here. Now, what this effect does, masking, we've talked about it before. So what it's doing is the piece I did first, I'm now covering it up, masking it over so that that piece will appear at the front. So everything else we build up around it, when we take this mask off, will disappear into the background. So that is, it's how you sort of create depth, and it's how you create, oh, I need a little bit more ink there, how you create like your own collages, you know, your own arrangements. Works really, really well. So we could just keep doing that. So you can just see all I'm doing is putting that pressure on. There we go. That's perfect. Look at that. Let's take that off just so that you can see, because I've finished with that bit for a minute. We can take that bit. And can you see now, look, these bits have now popped behind. It's such a clever technique. We've done a few masking bits and pieces before. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to, oops, move that out of the way. I'm going to move my magnet. That'll be dry straight away. And I'm going to get another one of my stamps. Let's just put that one goes back there. That one goes back there. I like this one. Now this is where it's quite key on here. So I'm going to come right over there, just like that. And I'm just going to just do a simple flower design up in that top corner. Again, over that mark, it really doesn't matter, because when I start to colour, it'll be fine. And then pop that. Oh, that's perfect, isn't it? Okay, so once we've done that, we need to do our die cutting. So we're going to do our die cutting next. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in and I'm going to pop that on. I'm going to get a little bit of low-tack tape, and I'm just going to make sure, oh, sorry, I knocked the camera, so I wobbled then for a minute. I'm going to put my tape on, and I'm actually going to tape over a bit that's not stamped. And when we open it out, this will look amazing. Do you know what? I need a bigger desk. I need such a bigger desk. So this now works like that. So we've got the image coming off here, and we've got that gorgeous bit just up there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave all of this bit black and white, and we're going to colour here. So as I said, we're going to be doing this with watercolour inks. So when I was prepping this one, I just found 2 pens, just as simple, but we're going to add a little bit more to it in a minute. So what I'm going to do, colour the yellow in the centre, just like that. It's not very often I go straight in with my pens when I'm doing watercolour, but for that one I will. So we can put that one on there, and then I'm just going to do a little bit of colouring. So let's just see on here. There we go. Right, so I'm going to get my pens and I'm going to just do some sort of flicky techniques up from the centre. Just like that. And then if you think about it, this one is at the back. So that's going to come out like that. And this one is from the back. So we can just do there. Then I'm going to scribble down onto my glass mat, because it's the best way to do watercolour colouring. And then we're going to get my water. And I've got my brush. Good piece of paper towel. And then I'm going to just mix that in. I don't want it too wet. And then I'm going to over-colour that. So you can see I've got some detail come through in the same colour underneath. And then I'm going to just pop it out. I'm just going to bring that quite watery to be quite light at the end. Just dragging that colour back down. I'm going to come that way this time, I think. So I get the lightest colour at the end. Lighter colour. And then if we want a bit more colour over there, I can just add in a little bit more. Just like that. Just remember, it's watercolour paper card that I've chosen to use, so I can get it nice and wet. So let's go nice and light at the end, and then there we go. So we can just add in there. So it will, once you've put your pens to the paper, it doesn't blend as such, but that was what I wanted. I wanted that intensity of colour down at the base. So just keep working around like that. And then the other one I'm going to do is the green. I'm going to do it in exactly the same way. I'm going to take a little bit down here. I've only got a couple of leaves. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to put some green down, and then I'm going to just colour that. Again, darker at the base, lighter at the ends, and that's there. Okay, so the other bit I wanted to show you quickly, actually I can pick it up from this bit here. I will do exactly the same with that one up there, just with a little bit more of an intense colour down at the bottom, just like that. Okay, so then I'm just going to paint the rest. So I'll speed it up, stop talking and speed it up, and do the rest of it from here. Okay, so that is what we've got. Pretty, isn't it? But then I thought to myself, you know what? I think we can do a little bit more. So I found my shimmering watercolours. Oh, let me just put the lid back on there. I found my shimmering watercolour paint, sorry. So I thought what I'd do is I'd sort of do a little bit of an overlay with some watercolour. Now, what you need to do is, if you've got something like these, there's lots of different palettes. So when they're dry, they're dry. That sounds silly. When they're not in use, they're dry. That's what I was trying to say. So what I needed to do was wet it to activate it. So the water will sit on the top to begin with, but that's absolutely fine. So sometimes you can, if you wanted to use lots of colours, I would go in with a spritz bottle, but I'm only going to be using a couple of colours here. So I'm just going to go in just like that, and I'm going to be using a bit of green. So I'm just applying a little bit of water, basically letting it work its way in. Okay, so we'll come back to the pink. That worked in a little bit. There we go. You can see, just reactivates it. It's so efficient because any paint I don't use will just dry back into a hard lump when I finish. So I'm just sort of pumping that around, and then all I'm going to do is just drag that over there. Now you can go as much or as little as you want over that. You can completely colour it in if you wanted to, or you could just do it more as I'm doing, and I'm just actually going to get that, and I'm going to dilute it down a little bit so it's quite, there we go, and then I can drag that out to the ends just there, so you can see nice, and just adds that little bit of shimmer. The other one you could do is go over with something like a Wink of Stella or your sparkle pens. That would work, but I wanted this because it added colour as well as sparkle, so I thought that was a really nice effect. So I can do that, and then I can come in with the green, because look at that, it's puddling nicely now, and I can go over that just there. Let's just spread that out a little bit. I only want the hint of a shimmer. I'm not trying to recolour it. Let's go in with a little bit of yellow in the centre. Oh, I missed this poor flower up at the top. Forgot that while I had the pink on my brush. There we go. Let's just add a little bit on there. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I just need to let that dry. So you've got two ways of doing it. Leave it to dry or speed it up. I'm going to speed it up. There we go. That's nice and dry. So okay, so what we can now do is that will pop back into there. It's another form of a highlight, isn't it? I thought that was nice. I didn't think it was quite finished. So keep it, I'm not going to ever sort of paint onto there. So what I'm going to do is I've got my Sandstorm Water Reactive. I don't have a brown blending brush. I just made sure my yellow was quite clean. I thought it was the same sort of palette, and I'm going to go round the edge with my Sandstorm just to give it a little bit of, you know, a vintage look. We are going to do some more in a minute. We're going to have to grab those masks back in a minute. But for a minute, we're just going to pop that on there. I don't mind going over there because it adds to the effect. We can pop that on here. Just like, there we go. Absolutely perfect. One more bit of stamping to do. And there is method in my madness not to stamp at the beginning. So I'm going to bring this back in. I'm going to grab some sentiment stamps. And these are a woodware set of sentiment stamps. There we go. I don't know if they've got, just to say they're called by Woodware. Again, as I keep telling you, I keep going into my Crafty stash. Now, the reason I didn't stamp the sentiment at the beginning is when I stamped that and that, I didn't know how everything was going to sit. I wanted to wait till I'd got the stitch lines in and everything. So I'm just going to go back in with my best wishes, getting it between the stitched lines. And I'm going to do another little technique on this. So with that in mind, I'm going to stamp with my waterproof ink. That'll make sense in a minute. Let's go like that. Oh, told you I need more space. I need more space. There we go. Oh, one more inking needed, I think. There we go. Put that on there. And there we go. All the way round there. Oh, it needs a tiny, tiny bit more, doesn't it? There we go. Last one, hopefully. Ah, perfect. Okay, so we can take the sentiment off. Make sure I've not got monkey fingers. Pick this up. And then one last thing I want to do to this bit is I'm going to bring in my trusty tatty spray booth, as I like to call it. And I'm just going to come back in with these inks. And I'm just going to get the pink again. I'm going to pop it on to my... Oh, before I do that, I'm jumping ahead. Before I do that, I need to get my masks back out. And I want to put the mask back on. So, put the mask on just there. Doesn't have to be exact. I just want to protect it a little bit. Now, I'm going to be stamping in the pink, so that bit's not too concerning. I'm going to put the mask on the leaves as well, because I don't want them to turn brown. And luckily I'd got two of those. I tell you, my masks go round and round and round. There you go. Oops. Let's cover that bit of green up there. There we go. This one's probably nearing its end of life. But there we go. So, picking up the pink paint, I'm going to just take that and I'm just going to do a few taps. Just a few taps on there. It doesn't have to be many. I just wanted to add in a little bit more. Let's see if I can get some bigger splats on my hand. That'll do. You're going to get a different effect every single time, aren't you? Let's just give that a quick blast. Speed that up. And then we can do the reveal. We can do the reveal. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? My hands are mucky. I need to be careful. And that will now fit back in there. I just love that effect. I love that clean and then coloured. It looks so lovely, doesn't it? Okay, so the card is so nearly finished. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that on there. I was able just to cut that out because I knew how big this was going to be. So let's put a little bit of glue on the back. Actually, I'm going to go with red liner because this has got water on it, so I can see it's bending a little bit. So red liner is brilliant because it'll hold it lovely and tight. So we can put one on there. Let's put one on there. and then one down the middle. It's just going to help to keep it nice and flat. Sometimes it's just got to be done. Poke tool to the rescue. Get the back off there. We can then do that one. Oops. And the final one. And I'm just going to lift that up so that I can see, because I've gone with about 1/8 of an inch, not even that possibly. Now I'm going to have to just put a little bit of wet glue because it's catching. The red liner will hold it tight after the event, but the wet glue is just going to give me a wriggle. Might have to come off camera a little bit just to see what I'm doing, because the camera is right over my head. Oh no, that's all right now, because I can move it. There we go. And again, I frequently use my blend pressure tool just to add that pressure. So I've popped that on there, and that's going to go onto there. So it's just adding that little bit of a border, just enhances it. So I found some linen card that I thought was a really, really good match, and I've got some black. So let's put the black on first. Just so that you know, my 10-fold card, because I started with 7 by 5.5, has come out at nearly 7 3/4 by nearly just over 6 1/4. So yeah, so it's how it is. Again, I just work out my mats and layers as I'm going along. Come on, this is coming out. There we go. I can hear the dog ploddling behind. She can hear me talking, and she's wondering who I'm talking to. She's like, why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't you talking to me? So actually, I'm going to move this across, and then I'm going to trim this down because this isn't quite even. Excuse the bigger border there. I'm going to trim that in a minute. And I'm going to pop this on. That's... Oh, Corrine. I've done that. This is why I like wet glue. This is why I like wet glue. Pink's going on first. Pink's a bit bigger. Let's put that on first. Oh, and it does fit now. Oh, I've got mucky fingers. Mucky fingers. Then we're going black. Don't worry about that glue on there. It's not going to show. There we are. Then we're going to come in. I must have dropped my glue. Did I drop my glue? There we go. I've got spider strings. I can get rid of those in a minute. Let's put this one on. This is going to go on flat. Nice and flat for this one. Don't forget, I always have my glue eraser if it has gone a little bit astray. So let's get that pressure tool in. I don't want it over the glue because I don't want to mess that up. Just put that there. Like I say, if you get any glue little bits, just come in with your glue eraser just like that, and it'll take them off. And I will, like I say, link to all of those. Any that you can click on would be brilliant. Sticks to foam pads on the back, and that's then going to go just like that. And then everything, just make sure it all lines back up. Can you see on there? Right, last little bit just to finish this off is a few little black gems. I'm gonna have to order myself more black gems because I am using black gems like you wouldn't believe. They just add that little bit extra, don't they, to your project. They just sort of add a little bit of interest when you've got a lot of space. Some people are really not concerned by white space at all. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. That looks like it's almost in a line. I need to just move that. I don't want any lines. So I think that'll do. I think random 4. Normally we talk about doing 3, but how about that? So again, it's a different form of spotlight on your card. I love this, but I love Julie's stamps. Aren't those beautiful?